Howdy you all, Willie here from Wanna Go Fishing. Today we're going to talk about something I don't normally talk about because it's one of those subjects to me that's always been personal opinion, okay? It's really, what are you trying to do? What are you trying to get out there and accomplish? And what we're going to be talking about today is different types of fishing line. All this different stuff. And the reason that we're going to talk about it is because the question was brought up, hey Willie, what kind of line do you use and why do you use it? Okay, well, let's just say that picking out fishing line is it's a trial and error thing. You're going to find stuff that you like and you're going to find stuff that you don't like, and then you're going to remember those reasons that you don't like it and probably never use it again, and then you're going to find stuff that you really do like and probably never switch from it until the newest and latest and greatest next thing comes out, and you'll give that a try, and then maybe you'll like it more than you do what it is, you know, before that. If that made any sense whatsoever. In my head it did. But basically what I'm getting at is, it is trial and error. It is buy it, put it on a reel, take it out, fling it, hate it or love it, or just be okay with it. My favorite, okay, my absolute 100% go-to is Trout Magnet SOS. Why is that, you may ask? Okay, well, with the fish that I catch, which is usually some form of panfish, it's usually smaller bass, bluegill, crappie, warmouth, red ear sunfish, red breast, whatever, in that panfish family. Now, I do catch a lot of smaller bass when I go up to the lake and do a review of something, but there are some massive bluegill in that lake too. And I have found that the Trout Magnet SOS has never let me down. I cannot think to date of a time that the Trout Magnet has ever broke. I actually caught my personal best with 4-pound Trout Magnet on a TCB rod, and it was 4-pound Trout Magnet, and that bass was in the 4.5 to 5 pound range. He was a big guy. And I got him in. Loosened the drag a little bit, thawed him a little bit, and I got him in. I have all the faith in the world in the Trout Magnet line, especially the SOS. Are there things out there I do not like? Yes, there are lines out there that I've tried and did not like. Again, it's all personal preference. It's all what it means to me, and what happened was Mr. Crappie let me down. I got into a batch of Mr. Crappie line that you could break like a dry spaghetti noodle. I lost several fish until I finally figured out something was wrong with the line. And I can tell you, I've never had that happen going all the way back to the 70s and 80s using old string. I never had that problem. I found that line, for some crazy reason, I would wrap it around my fingers, pop, it just break. Had to be something wrong with the way it was made or something like that, but from that point on it just put a bad taste in my mouth, and I didn't want to use it anymore. You try it, something happens, boom, you don't like it anymore. You know, your mother makes you eat Brussels sprouts when you're 6, you like it, and you don't ever try it again. It's terrible. It's the worst thing you ever eaten. Then you get old and find out one day that, hey, these don't actually taste that bad. Why is that exactly? I don't know. It's got nothing to do with fishing line in any way, shape, or form. But it happens. Think it don't? Did to me. Anyway, braided line. Let's talk about braided line. Now, I just used braided. I started using braided line. This is a funny thing. I never used it. I always dodged it. And the reason that I dodged braided line was because I didn't want to be out there on the side of the lake or the river or whatever having to retie leaders, because I'm not the greatest knotsman in the world, and I got fat fingers with calluses on them, and I don't see as good as I used to. So having to get out there and try to tie knots that would latch braided line to mono wasn't easy. I still struggle with it. I have a way that I do it now that really works well for me. Maybe one of these days I'll show you that if you'd like to see that, which is, I don't know why you would, but if you ever would, you know, put the comments down there. We'd like to see how you tie braid to mono, and you'll probably get a good laugh out of it. Tell somebody that you know who really knows how to do it to watch it, and then they'll watch it and laugh really hard, and then, you know, it'll just go on from there. But at least the video will be getting watched. I started using this very recently. This is Onyx braided line from Piece Gretsch. Now, I originally used Lunker by Piece Gretsch. but I couldn't find it. I'm not sure if it's not being made anymore or what, I don't know. But I started using this onyx, it's blue. And I kind of like it. Has a good feel to it, very smooth, comes off of the reel very easily, and it is very easy to tie a mono leader to this particular brand of braid, Piece Onyx. Now, leaders. You got people that use all kinds of everything for leaders. I'm gonna tell you, I use a mono, just a regular monofilament, as a matter of fact. This one right here, which had been in my tackle box for quite some time. I bought it new and I'm still using it as leader line. I don't use it as an actual on the reel line. It is just a leader line, and it is 10-pound Trilene XL. Extra smooth. This line is cool. I used to use this. This was my go-to for the longest time, was Trilene XL. I used it in all sizes and shapes and forms, but this was what I used. I tried the Trilene Extra Tough, but the Trilene Extra Tough, that's hard to say, reminded me a lot of the lines we used to use back in the 70s and 80s. But I saw in Bass Pro Shops, which again, it's not somewhere I go all the time, they had the Premium XL on sale. And this is 1,500 yards of it. Right there. They had it on sale. It was like a buy one, get one free, or 50% off. I think it was 50% off. It's normally like $11 or something. I ended up getting it for $5 something. And I figured for 1,500 yards for $5, I mean, you can't buy a cheeseburger anymore for $5. And once you eat a cheeseburger, it's gone. You've got nothing. You've got nothing left. What do you have? Nothing. You got a wrapper, and that's it. And you have to put it in the trash. This is 1,500 yards for $5, and I figured I'd have this a lot longer than I'd have a cheeseburger. I seem to compare a lot of things to food. I don't know why that is exactly. This has worked out quite well. Premium XL seems to be okay. I wouldn't say it's the greatest in the world, but I would say on a scale of 1 to 10, this is about an 8. Let's talk about this reel over here that has this certain line on it that I don't like. That right there, that is a Mr. Lose. It's not a Mr. Lose. It's a Lose Mr. Trout. Not Mr. Lose Trout. You don't want to have Lose Trout anything near fishing, a reel or a pole or anything like that. Lose Trout is not a good thing to have. Let's just not even talk about that anymore. But anyway, let's talk about the line that's on it. This is some of the Mr. Crappie that I don't like. Why don't I like it? Well, for that one thing I told you about, that it breaks. Another thing, could have had my eye put out there. Another reason I don't like it is some of the others, the 6-pound and 8-pound that I used, it was old and funky. It got hard, like stuff that you would use in the line that you would have used in the 80s. You know, string kind of stuff. Crinkly and just nasty. So we're taking that off of there, and we're going to put this 4-pound trout magnet on there. I'm going to show you how I do it, and you are going to be baffled, amazed, and just next thing you know, let's just show you, then I'll go from there. All right, so there we go. We got that line off of there. And that's such a nice little reel. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how I put line on my reels. So this is an angle you don't normally get, but you're going to get it today because I'm going to show you exactly how I do this. First thing I do is if I have a 2-piece rod, I take the top piece off. Run the line through the first loop, eyelet there, run it down to the reel to which I am trying to put the line on. Flip the old bail there, and the interesting part is where the other end is. What you're looking at is a drumstick going through my line spool going down into the actual air hole of the bass drum. So what I do is I just put that down in the hole like so. hoping that you can see that all right. I make sure that the line is not coming off of the spool and down underneath of it, which sometimes it does, but that's just the way it goes. And then when I reel, now I'm doing it in slow motion there for you just so you can see it. There you go. So then I let the line pass between my fingers, coming through the loop, and I just wind it on. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. And there you have it. There is line, 4-pound trout magnet line, put on a little tiny Lew's Mr. Trout reel. And now make sure too, people, that you don't go too far, okay? If you go too far past the spool itself, everything is going to come unwound and it's just going to explode like you opened up a watch and things are going to fly everywhere. So try to stay back off of that edge. You want it to be up under the lip so it comes off well but doesn't come off while it's just sitting there, if that makes any sense. You'll find out if you go too far, you'll understand what I'm talking about. I ain't kidding. But there you go, that's how I do it. And then at that point, I put the other tip back on, put on whatever lure I'm going to use, and I go out and I commence to flinging. Anyway, I hope that helps you out. I don't think you can go wrong with 2, 4, or 6-pound trout magnet SOS if you're into the pan fishing and the smaller fish type thing. It's great stuff. Works really well. I don't have any issues with it whatsoever. Of course, you might get out there and find it's not your thing, because you know 4 out of 5 fishermen recommend SOS trout magnet. There's always going to be that 5th one that says, I don't like it, and I'm not going to like it. You can't make me like it. I don't care, and it's mainly because the other 4 do like it. You got to have that one person that stands out. You got to have it. 4 out of 5 doctors liked chewing gum, or was it chewing gum or toothpaste? I don't know, but 4 out of 5 doctors liked it, and 1 of them didn't. I don't know why that is. I wonder if that doctor's still part of their group. I guess we'll know if we ever see that commercial again and it's 5 out of 5 doctors liked it. They got rid of that 5th guy. Got a new one. Somebody who's not so hard to get along with. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. See you next time.